Hi, my name is Josh. I am the manager here in the Proto Lab in the Idea Lab. And today I will be talking to you guys about the safety and the use of the miter saw. This is one of the most, it can be the most dangerous, one of the most dangerous tools we have in the lab, but it can also be one of the most useful. Usually we're going to use the miter saw to cut long pieces of wood, cut them down from being long to short. So we'll mostly use it for wood. It can also be used to cut PVC pipe like this, or small sheets of acrylic. And so I will get into it. When you come in here to use the miter saw, before you make any cuts, before you start measuring or doing anything like that, you want to make sure that the saw is in the correct position, that everything's locked down, and I'll show you what all that means. So first of all, whenever you come up to the saw, it should be locked down like this. There is a special little pin right here that you can pull out, and then it will let the saw open up, and that's going to allow you to use it. There are a few other features on the saw that let you change angles of your cuts. So the first one I'll show you is this guy right here. Right now it's locked with this handle down like that, and there's a little button up here. So if you do need to change the angle, you'll pull this up, push the button, and that allows you to slide it. Whenever you are done cutting, or whenever you come up to the miter saw, it should be in the 0 position, and you can see the 0 position right here. So that means it's at 0 degrees from its normal, I guess, angle. Then I'll lock it again. So that'll let us cut at 90-degree angles. On the back right here, we can swivel the miter saw so it can move in this direction. So to do that, there is a little twisty knob back here that will allow you to move that. So make sure that that is totally tight before you use the saw, before you plug it in, and make sure that this is tight. So that way when you're making your cut, it doesn't start moving around on you, because that's when bad stuff can happen. The last thing, and this is super important, it's actually a compound miter saw is what it's called. And so it allows you to pull this blade forward to make bigger cuts. This feature should always be locked unless you have to use it. So there is one more small knob on the back here that will activate the sliding action. If you're not intending to use the sliding action, make sure this is always locked down. So it's just so it's not going to slide out on you when you're not ready for it. Okay, so now we understand kind of the basics of how to set up the saw. We've unlocked it. Now we're ready to cut. Before we make any cuts, you want to make double sure that you've got safety glasses on. So basically, anytime you're in the Proto Lab, make sure you got safety glasses on. I'm going to show you real quick how to make a cut and do a few measurements. So let's say I just need a 4-inch block or something. So I like to measure it 4 inches. Put a little mark there, and then you can use a square to draw a line where you want to make the cut. Notice that this block is pretty large. When you have it on the saw, you want to make sure that it's not too small. So if you have to hold it any closer than 8 inches when you're going to make the cut, it's too small of a piece, and just use a different piece. So like this piece right here, don't even try it. I mean, your hand's got to be way too close to the blade, and it's just not worth it. So real quick, I'm going to make this cut and see how I do it. You'll notice that I want this side of the board, so I'm going to have the blade kind of positioned on this side to cut on this side of the line. So we'll do a little close-up and you can see that real quick. Okay, so sometimes you'll need to cut a piece that is I guess a good rule of thumb is if it's wider than 5 inches, you're going to have to use the compound ability of this, the sliding ability, I guess I like to call it. So notice that if I put the blade all the way down, it's not going to make it all the way through this piece of wood. So this would be the only time that you'd want to unlock the slide stop like I showed you before. So I'll unscrew that, and that'll allow us to bring it forward. Now, the important thing for making a cut like this is you want to pull it out all the way first. You're going to plunge downward and then push it backwards. You never want to pull it towards you because you can lose control of it and then it can kind of rocket at you and you might not be ready for it. So again, just bring it all the way out. You're going to start the saw, bring it down, and then push it back. And that's how you do a compound cut. So let me demonstrate. Again, remember, keep your hand 8 inches from the blade. Make sure you're pushing against the fence right here, and it should be all good. Okay, so when you're done using the miter saw, remember to always scan your ID card again to shut the system down, so that somebody who hasn't trained yet can't use it, or maybe somehow someone could be messing around and not realizing that it's on. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but it's important to shut it down once you're done. Along with that, you're going to want to make sure you take the saw and put it back down into its locked position like that. Make sure you lock the slide stop right there in the back, so now it can't go forward, can't go up and down, and it's locked. Lastly, you want to make sure you clean up your work area. So we do have a shop vac in the proto lab, and there should be a dustpan and a broom around to use. So make sure you guys clean up scraps that you accumulate, clean up your dust, and that'll be good. So thanks for sitting through this video. If you have any questions, definitely come find me or anyone else who works in the Idea Lab if you have any questions about the use of the miter saw or safety or things like that. I'll see you guys later.